Okay, so in this video, we're going to take a look at how we can factorize a different type of trinomial to the last video, and we're going to introduce a new idea, a new tool called slide and divide. And remember, in the last video, we looked at factorizing a trinomial, something like this, say x squared plus 6x plus 9, or something like x squared plus 7x plus 10. And remember, we were looking for two numbers for this top one that would multiply to give us 9 and add together to give us 6. Or they would multiply to give us 10 and add together to give us 7. Okay, but in today's video, we're going to look, and the first one that we will look at is going to be of the form 6x squared plus 17x plus 5. So the key difference here is that the coefficient on the x squared term is now no longer 1. We have a number 6, or it might be a number 8, or the number 10, or negative 15, or whatever it is in front of this x squared term. It's not the number 1 anymore. So we're going to need something called slide and divide. And there's different moderations or different versions of slide and divide. They're all the same idea, they're just slightly different. So some teachers might teach this in a slightly different way. But we're going to look at slide and divide today. So there's a few steps. Number one is that we're going to slide. And what we do is we slide this number 6 over to this number on the end here, this number 5. And this is going to be a multiplication. So in this case, we would end up with x squared plus 17x plus 30. So we've slid that 6 over to that 5 there. Next up is we are going to factorize. So this is now something that we can factorize that we were doing in the last video. So we are looking for two numbers that add to 30, multiply to 30 and add to 17. And in this case, that would be 15 and 2. And you can do that as a little exercise to practice if you're not happy where that came from. But in this case, it's x plus 15 and x plus 2. The third step is to divide. And we divide by what we slid with. So in this case, the number 6. And the numbers that we divide are our 15 and our 2, like that. So we're dividing the 15 and the 2 by the 6. The fourth step is to simplify. So 15 over 6, both the number 3 goes into both the numerator and the denominator there, so we could simplify that to give us 5 over 2. And this fraction here we could simplify to be 1/3. Okay, and fifth, the final step is to do what we call bottoms up. And that is just to, after we've simplified these fractions, move these bottoms out the front. So we end up with 2x plus 5 and 3x plus 1. Okay, of course, we can check that this answer is correct by expanding these brackets out. So 2x times 3x will give us 6x squared, using our crab clause, plus 2x, our 5 times our 3x, plus 15x, plus 5 on the end. So we end up with 6x squared plus 17x plus 5, which is exactly what we needed. Okay, we're going to do another example, and I'm going to try and do it alongside this one, so we've still got the steps here. And my example now is going to be 20x squared take 11x take 3. Okay, so the same steps apply. We've just got to remember these 5 steps. The first step is to slide. So we're going to slide this 20 over to this minus 3 here. So we end up now with x squared take 11x take 60. The second step is to factorize. So this is now something that we can factorize. We did this in the last video. So two numbers that multiply to give us minus 60, and they've got to add together to give us minus 11. So I'm thinking 15 and 4, okay, and it's going to be negative 15 and positive 4. Again, you can do that as a little exercise to make sure that we've got that correct from the previous video. Number 3 is to divide, okay, and we're going to divide by that number 20 that we slid over. And we divide that 15 by 20, and we divide our 4 by 20. The fourth step is to simplify these fractions down. So we would end up with 3/4 here, and this one as 1/5. Okay, and finally, the fifth step is to just lift these bottoms up. So we get 4x take 3 multiplied by 5x plus 1. And of course, we can check that this answer is correct by expanding these brackets out. So let's do our crab clause. We get 20x squared plus 4x take 15x take 3. And let's simplify that down. We get 20x squared take 11x take 3, which is exactly what we needed at the start. Finally, I've got one more example, and I'm going to rub this out over here because we want to have our steps here on the left. So we're going to do one more example, and this time it's going to be 6x squared take 11x plus 4. Okay, and the first step is to slide. So all the steps stay the exact same. So we're going to slide this 6 over to this 4 here, and we end up with x squared take 11x plus 24 like that. The second step is to factorize. So this is now something that we can factorize from the previous video. We're looking for two numbers that multiply for 24 and add together for minus 11. And the answer to this one will be x take 8 and x take 3. Okay, and again, you can do that as a little exercise from the previous video to make sure that that is in fact correct. The third step here is to divide. So we're going to divide by what we slid with, in this case the number 6. So we divide by 6 like that. The fourth step is to just simplify these fractions. So 8 over 6 can be simplified if we maybe halve both 8 and 6. We get 4 over 3, and that would be simplified, and then the same over the right hand side would divide both of those by 3. We would get a half. And fifth step, finally, is to just lift these bottoms up. So we get 3x take 4 times 2x take 1. And finally, of all, we can check that this answer is correct by expanding our brackets out. So we get 6x squared, this is just doing our crab clause, take 3x, take 8x plus 4. And if we simplify this down, minus 3x take 8x is minus 11x plus 4, which is exactly what we needed to start with. So that there is slide and divide. We've got these trinomials now which have a coefficient on that x squared term that is bigger than 1, okay, something different to the number 1. And in order to tackle these, we need to do this 5-step process called slide and divide.